These are not the Olympics. This is the California Pools of Hope, formerly known as the California Pools for the Handicapped. But here you will find heroes of Olympic proportions, winners in life. These pools are an extraordinary facility for people of all nationalities, men and women, young and old, anyone with a disability, an illness, a special need for water therapy. All are welcome here.
Okay, my name is Esther Weiner, and this is my son, Avi Weiner. Avi has mild autism, and we've been coming for 4 weeks. And before we came here, he was basically terrified of water. He could only hold on to the edge, and it's just phenomenal the progress he's made in 4 weeks. He can dog paddle now, and he loves to jump in. He's not afraid of drowning anymore, or afraid of being, consumed by the water, and he's just really relaxed, and it's just a really wonderful, positive experience for him in the short time we've been here.
The Pools of Hope is a dream come true, the all-consuming vision of Evelyn Dempsey DuPont, who founded the pools in 1963. She was a dynamic woman, a courageous and relentless humanitarian. Evelyn was born in Montreal, Canada, in 1914, and died in 1996.
I can't say too much about Evelyn. She's just a wonderful person. If you need help, she was there to help you. We miss her so much. She's a wonderful person. I don't know exactly how to explain her. She was just like an angel, really just like an angel, because I don't remember anyone coming into the pool and being turned away. And she just did it in every way, and they have the Golden Crutch Ball that we go there, and it's kind of an honor to her. And I just don't like to miss it. It is wonderful. She is that way with everyone. I tell you, she's just like an angel. And I kind of think she is, wherever she is, she's looking down on us to see that her legacy is carried on.
The California Pools of Hope in Long Beach operates year-round, free of charge. It is kept alive solely through grants and private donations.
My name is Mike Conrad, and my title is pool manager. I was a school teacher for some 27 years.
Mike is fantastic. Mike is very relaxed and very calm and very patient. Avi, say hi.
Can you say hi?
Do you have fun in the water, Avi?
Can you turn around and look at the lady when you talk, please?
Yes.
He's gone. Well, of course, it's individualized attention, and they deal specifically with people who are disabled, and he's trained. He's worked with other autistic children before. He really understands how Avi thinks and his fears and what he needs. So it's very specific to him, and it's wonderful because it's really one-on-one attention, and it's very special for Avi. He loves to come here. He really looks forward to it. Talks about it all week long. Am I going to see Mike? Am I going to see Mike? And he wakes up and he talks about it. He knows, I'm going to Mike today.
Sometimes it's the first success. They're not very successful in the classroom, and this is something they can be successful at. And this comes from Evelyn. Evelyn was great at mother and me with real small kids, which I can't do. Her pools were really the major thing that she did, is raise the money to keep the pools afloat. And she liked to make kind of a grand entrance. And she would come in singing Hello, Dolly. And everybody would, oh, Evelyn's here. And she would perform. That's a good memory that I have of Evelyn.
It's really the triumph of my life. It's my baby, and I'm so glad that I was able to start something like this, but not alone. I had a lot of people with me.
This is Richard DeVelder, born 27 years ago, with no arms or legs.
My name is Richard the Elder, and I've been swimming at this pool since I was about 9 months old. My mom brought me first when I was about 9 months to learn how to swim. Evelyn was my teacher, and she worked with me for several years. And that's been about 26, 27 years since I've been swimming. I was afraid of the water at first. I didn't like it. I didn't want to swim. They used to dunk my head into the water and let me go. And after a while, I got used to it, and I started to enjoy it. And I started to come consistently and to learn how to swim and to get good exercise. And the water feels good. And those were my reasons for coming to that point. I stopped coming about 10 years ago because of physical problems and because of transportation difficulties. And after about 10 years ago, I had a kidney taken out, and that's why I couldn't swim anymore, and it was too painful. And about a year ago, I decided it was time to get back into swimming when I started to have some back problems, and I went to physical therapy, and the doctor said, get back in the pool, it'll help you. So about a year ago, I started to go back in the pool. I was fat as could be. I couldn't do it. I did about 7 laps, and I couldn't even breathe. And after about a year now, I'm up to about 25 laps each time I come. So I've kind of gotten my conditioning back and gotten my breath a little bit so I can swim. And I feel much better.
Debbie was in a car accident. She was in a coma for, I don't know, a year maybe, a long time. And then she came out. She was in rehab for a year and a half. And then I saw her. And people had told her that swimming just was not a reasonable goal for her. But they didn't tell me that. And I didn't know that. And she didn't know that I didn't know that. So I just, out of ignorance, treated her like, oh, sure, we can get you swimming.
My name is Shirley Adams, and this is my daughter, Debbie. We have been coming to the pool for about 7 years. Debbie was hurt in an automobile accident about 10 years ago, and she spent a year in the hospital and 2 years in a rehabilitation center. So when we first came here, we had to wheel Debbie down in the pool in a wheelchair, and she wore a life jacket. And she couldn't move her right side very well. She had a very weak right side. So one of the ladies taught Debbie how to float. And then we went on to walking along the side of the pool with the grab bars, which are really great. And then we walked down the ramp hanging on to both sides. I say we, meaning Debbie and I. And now she goes down the stairs and she swims 30 laps each time she comes, which is a quarter mile. Her right side has improved tremendously. She can now get her hand up over her head, and she kicks with her right leg. She swims in her own fashion, taking air up straight, not turning her head to the side because she will roll over if she does that. But she's a very, very good swimmer. Now it's your turn.
Well, I just love the pool. It's been a wonderful way to exercise. And I think it's a wonderful no-impact sport where you can work really hard and you're not going to knock any bones out of kilter. I love coming here and I like the people here. That's the best thing I can say about the mental. I really enjoy the workout here. I work hard in the pool and it's a wonderful place to keep in shape.
And Evelyn always had a smiley face and a cheery hello, and she was always interested in the progress that Debbie and the others that come here have made. She was always very interested in each person. She was a very nice lady.
A wonderful woman, Evelyn was.
Evelyn Dempsey DuPont was an Olympic hopeful. In 1936, Evelyn was training for the swimming competitions in the Berlin Olympics when she suffered a devastating diving injury. The doctors told her, "You'll never walk again." But Evelyn, determined to beat the odds, not only walked again, but rehabilitated herself completely through her own water therapy. Evelyn became a professional aquatic performer and swim instructor. During her lifetime, she adopted 4 children and was foster mother to 12 others, all with special physical and emotional needs. Her total understanding of the therapeutic powers of water plus her desire to rehabilitate disabled children, inspired Evelyn to open up her own backyard pool to hundreds of youngsters. But suddenly, in 1952, at age 39, Evelyn herself was stricken with polio. Again, the medical prognosis, lifelong paralysis. And once more, she defied fate and rehabilitated herself totally. Her mission to help the disabled outgrew the backyard pool. In 1965, Evelyn established a Long Beach community pool, open and free to anyone in need of the healing powers of water.
Evelyn's contributions are probably greater than anyone can really say. This pool wouldn't be here if Evelyn didn't go out and do it. It obviously takes a great deal of money to run this pool, and when she needed the money, she went out and she got it. She always also went outside of the pool and participated with other groups and with other disabilities, and just letting legislatures know about people with disabilities and letting the community know about people with disabilities. And I think that's why this pool has survived as long as it has and why it's still sitting here. Her attitude and her motivation to actually make it survive and make it what it's supposed to be has made a big difference.
And I've been attending the pool for about 11 years since I retired. And it has been so good for me health-wise.
I learned pool therapy at that time and have been working out every day since 1992. And the difference that it's made in my life is miraculous. And I was unable to walk without a cane, without limping. I was unable to put one foot in front of the other, heel toe. And from strictly doing water therapy, the strength that I have is absolutely shocking to me.
I'm Barbara, and I'm Evelyn's daughter. And the way this all came about started a long time ago. I guess from my memory, it began when, of course, she contacted polio. And that was probably about when I'm thinking I was probably about 8 or 9. And I remember I was the first one that got sick, and they didn't know what was the matter with me. And then within like a week or 2 weeks' time, she got really sick. And she was diagnosed with polio. Well, of course, they told her she would never walk again, and that she'd always be confined to a wheelchair. And this just, it didn't make her scared or sad or upset or whatever like most people get. It just made her mad, because she was not the type to ever be told she couldn't do something or that she was going to have to be confined in some way. So my earliest memories of that was her, maybe after only a couple of weeks, it didn't seem very long, begging the doctor for crutches, so she could get up and try to move around a bit and not just be in this wheelchair. Well, of course, he said yes, probably a little reluctantly. But then when she had these crutches, she wouldn't stay in the wheelchair. She was just up all the time doing everything she wasn't supposed to be doing.
I'm Joe King. I'm the executive director for the California Pools for the Handicapped. I came to the California Pools for the Handicapped through my association with Evelyn DuPont. She's always said that whenever we're in the desperate needs, the angels would fly over and touch their wings upon the pools and watch over us. And so I began to manage the pool for her in 1981. I remember a woman who came into the pool who had been in a wheelchair for 22 years. She was a mother and a grandmother now. She had raised her family during that time from her wheelchair. And then about a year later, she came up to me and she goes, "Joe, you know what I'm going to do?" I go, "What?" She goes, 22 years ago, I was in an auto accident that left me paralyzed. And I have not driven a car since. She goes, "But I've learned now that I can learn to swim. I can learn to do anything if I really want to. And I'm going to get my driver's license and learn to drive again." The pool not only rehabilitates the body, but it rehabilitates the spirit and the mind of the person. It gives them renewed confidence in what they can do. It's the first step on the ladder of success that brings a person back into having tremendous self-esteem and increased self-worth. Swimming can be accomplished by anyone regardless of their disability, no matter how severe it is. The water is a perfect physical therapist. It has the compassion to allow the weakest of muscles to exercise, yet it has the strength to give you the resistance according to your abilities.
The philosophy of the pool is very much independence, and you can talk to Joe, who's the director here now, and he will tell you that this gives people hope, meaning that they can physically do the things that they do. People will come in here and say they can't walk, but when they get in the water, they can actually move their legs around and move around in the water. And the philosophy of this pool, I believe, is be independent, do your very best, and I know that's Joe's philosophy, and don't feel sorry for yourself.
Welcome to the Golden Crutch Awards, created by Evelyn DuPont in 1964. These awards are bestowed every year at the California Pools of Hope.
There's a real special young lady who's here. Her name is Frances Ledwith. Frances is not able to go to the pool today, but we wanted to present her a trophy. She has swam at the pool now since she was just a small child. Evelyn has worked with her for many years, and we're so proud of what Frances has accomplished. We wanted to present her a trophy and ask everyone to give Frances a big round of applause.
Every single individual who uses the pools receives a trophy proclaiming his or her triumph and courage despite personal obstacles. Evelyn did not attend the awards in 1996. She passed away on February 5, 1996. Shortly before her death, Evelyn wrote a letter she entitled, "Student of the Miracles of Life." The following excerpts are taken from that letter. As I transition into the next phase of my life, I reflect upon the lifetimes of work and dedication I came to know. It was not my work or dedication that I reflect upon. It is the thousands of silent voices that have motivated me on my journey through this life. I was the student of courage as I held the child without arms or legs. I found the meaning of soul-wrenching fear in his tears of helplessness. In spite of that internal turmoil, he valiantly fought to overcome his fear. With great courage, he allowed me to teach him to swim. Through this arduous feat, he discovered greater courage, courage that would see him through school, into college, and onto life. I was the student of dedication as I opened the doors of the California Pools for the Handicapped and assisted those with wheelchairs, braces, and crutches. I only wish humankind could be as blessed as I. It is my eternal hope that everyone would learn the lessons that I have been taught, the courage to fight injustice and prejudice wherever it is found, the dedication to stand for right regardless of who scoffs or scorns, the love to embrace each other as brothers and sisters without note of race, religion, creed, physical condition, or mental limitations, a love and concern for all and for the improvement of the human condition.
And I really didn't think about this until I was older, how hard she worked. Like, she'd get up and be in the pool from, like 8 in the morning till 5 at night without taking any breaks. I'd take her drinks all day, water, juice, take her lunch, make her lunch. She never got out. She just worked straight through, you know. And when I think about that now, being in a hot pool, a fairly warm pool in the hot sun, that was really hard.
When I first started, I couldn't move my arms or any part of my upper part of my body. And since I've been to the pool, I've at least been able to start moving my hands and my arms a little bit. And I've learned how to, believe it or not, I've learned how to swim. And when I first started, they had to take me down in a wheelchair, the same as many other people. But I was able to start walking up the ramp within maybe a year and a half on my own. And so it, as you well see, it has made a great deal of progress for me, you know, in that respect.
People used to tell me that, you know, Evelyn doesn't twist arms when she has to for her pools. She'd break arms. You know, you get what she needed because of these little boys, these little girls, these senior citizens who reach out to shake her hand, to thank her, because she has made their lives better. She has made their lives livable again. So even though she stepped on toes and twist and break arms, she always went back and mended her wounds later. She never burned her bridges, but she would always mend the wounds and help others to understand why it's so important. That we're not talking about a recreation program, but we're talking about a healing program.
Evelyn's legacy, the California Pools of Hope, is a testament to the richest form of athletic spirit, the will to be free.
Started the whole pools, right?
Well, yes, I sure did, and I'm happy that it's really the triumph of my life. It's my baby, and I'm so glad that I was able to start something like this, but not alone. I had a lot of people with me.
Well, thank you, Evelyn. We sure appreciate you.
It's my pleasure, and I want to thank all of you for being here today, too.
Our pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I tell you, she's just like an angel. And I kind of think she is, wherever she is, she's looking down on us to see that her legacy is carried on.